Welcome back to the channel, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I just want to go ahead and say that, you know, I know it can be very difficult when you've lost somebody that's very close to you, or in some instance, somebody that you really looked up to. Now, I'm mostly going to be speaking for the men out there. Why? Because we understand that females are naturally very emotional. So it makes sense for them to start acting irrationally when somebody that's dear to them passes away. The reason I'm mostly speaking to the men here is because men are the only ones, I'm gonna be honest with you, men are the only one who can really bring true change when it comes to the United States of America. On September 10th, we literally saw a man get assassinated right before our own eyes. And instead of sitting there and rationally thinking about it and coming to a conclusion whether or not if this was done by a foreign country or if this was done by our own fellow Americans, instead we are, well, pointing finger at everybody and anybody and then turning on the camera and crying about the fact that Charlie Kirk got assassinated right in front of all of us. And again, if females are extremely emotional with this whole situation, I get it. But for the men's out there, I am telling you to calm the hell down. Shut your ass up. Calm down. I get it. You lost somebody that's dear to you, somebody that's really close to you. But this is a moment for you to realize that there's a bigger play that's going on here. This is a moment for you to understand that Charlie Kirk did not get assassinated by the left. I'm going to be the first to say, oh heck, maybe the 10th person or the 100% to tell you. I don't believe that Charlie Kirk was assassinated by the left. I've been listening to the whole entire story. I've been paying attention and I'm starting to see an extreme amount of inconsistencies that's going on. The FBI, the story that their narrative that they're trying to put out there doesn't sound right. The fact that they're saying that the person who assassinated went ahead and disassembled the gun doesn't sound right. And then they try to blame the Discord, saying that, there was a chat between the person who committed the atrocity on Charlie Kirk with one of his friends, and then Discord comes out later and denied the whole accusation. So I guess what I'm trying to say is there was a special force, somebody that's far more powerful behind the assassination of Charlie Kirk. And currently what they're trying to do is they are trying to put as much story out there as possible. So that way you are confused. That way you don't really sit there and actually think about what's actually important. And all I'm telling you is this, that there is a lot of inconsistency in the story. A lot of it. When the whole thing happened, I was suspended on YouTube because of I did something wrong, and it wasn't bad. I didn't know what I was. I didn't, I had no idea, and then I got suspended for that. But I'm glad it happened because when the whole situation happened, everybody was everywhere. A lot of misinformation was coming out. Everybody was pointing finger at everybody. And so if I was to make a video at that, perhaps I would have been among those who put some false information out there. And later I'll have to retract that. But while I was on suspension, I had time to look. I had time to hear people's perspective. I had time to see people analyzing the videos and coming to a conclusion and saying something is not right. And fast forward today, 5 days later, they're right. Something isn't right. Charlie Kirk was definitely starting to notice. And he also shook hands with the devil. What do I mean by that? He took money from from certain group of people who donated to Trump, people who donated to people like Mark Rubio. Recently, he was in Israel kissing the wall. People who donate to make sure that Israel is favored. Charlie Kirk took money from these people. And of course, when you take money from these people, it comes with condition. You can't have any sympathy for the state of Palestine. You cannot have that. You cannot feel any sympathy for the dying Palestinians out there. And a lot of people went ahead and dug up a lot of video of Charlie Kirk starting to change his mind when it comes to the whole state of Palestine. And recently, well, the video in which I'm about to show you was published a few days before he was unalive, right in front of millions of people. And I just got to tell you, he was starting to notice. So go ahead, Take a look and let me know what you guys think.
So this is so important, Megan. And again, I don't want, you cannot say everyone in the pro Israel, and I don't say it, acts that way. But I got texts about you, Megan, saying, why is Megan like doing the bidding of Hamas? I was like, what are you talking about? Megan's the best. Like, what? Like, she's amazing. And I said, why are you texting me about Megan? And I at that point, and so this is what they don't understand. You and I, Megan, and Tucker is in the same category, and they've tried to go after Tucker.
Yeah.
Is that the more you attack our moral character, the more we're going to double down in a direction, because 100%. Screw you, I don't do it that way, okay?
Right.
Like when tell me I'm wrong. Cool. Tell me if I got my facts wrong. By the way, on the Epstein thing, Naftali Bennett says he wasn't an Epstein agent. We have to be pursuers of truth. They've denied it. Fine. Let's keep digging. Okay. Fine. But the thing that I think is being lost is, like, on some part of the population, you can scold them into silence, right? But if I have any deviation of a purity test, any deviation whatsoever, such as hosting a focus group, right, Megan, with a bunch of our students that went viral, having Dave Smith or Tucker at my event, it is all of a sudden, oh, Charlie is he's no longer with us and all that. I said, wait a second, what do you mean? What does with us mean exactly, right? I'm an American, okay? Like, I represent this country, and I don't even understand that paradigm. But Megan, I think you would agree with this. I want to make sure we really zero in on this. Personality types like you, myself, and Tucker, the more that you guys privately and publicly call our character into question, which is not isolated, right? Megan, it would be one thing if it was one text or two texts. It is dozens of texts.
Yes.
Then we start to say, hold the boat here. And to be fair, some of my really good Jewish friends are like, that's not all of us, it's all, but these are leaders too, though, right? These are stakeholders, right?
So yeah, I just wanted to go ahead and put that out there. This was recorded a couple of days before he got assassinated. That's one. That's wrong for you. It's that when you take a step back, when you decide to say, you know what, something ain't right. After you took money from them, by the way, it was too late. Charlie Kirk realized too late what we knew for a long time. By that time, he already took money from them. In the minds of Charlie Kirk, he assumed that you supporting Israel is equivalent to you supporting America. And we realized that that was not true. We realized that wasn't true. There was an article that was released that Charlie Kirk was the only one who went to Donald Trump and said, hey, Trump, you shouldn't drop that bomb on Iran. And he was the only one who did that. You started to see a pattern here. Charlie Kirk started to become a problem. He started to become a nuisance. Somebody that was a thorn in their sight because he became too big. He was in the ears of a lot of young Americans. And right now is the most critical moment ever in the state of Israel, that they need the support of America more than anything. Because all over the world, Mexico, Africa, everywhere, you name it, they are standing up and saying that there's going on in Palestine, and America is the only one who's supporting it. America is the only one who's sending bills. America is the only one who's sending them bombs. And well, if Charlie Kirk is one of those people who stands up and says, yeah, we need to stop doing that, that becomes a very, very, very big problem. And here's another clip for you guys, so that way you kind of have an idea. So that way you kind of have an idea of exactly what Charlie Kirk was starting to notice.
That Epstein, with his little friend Ghislaine and Ghislaine's father, Robert Maxwell, who is obviously a spy of the Israeli intelligence agencies, that there was something else going on here. Epstein was not some sort of whiz-kid hedge fund manager. Epstein was playing a part. Epstein was a LARPer. Epstein was cast for a specific role, and he played it really well. The sweatpants and the Harvard jacket, the kind of disheveled hair, looking as if he was so smart and above the clouds that he was doing advanced mathematic equations on the back of napkins. But if you actually go into some of the videos of people that met with Epstein at the time, they said he was awfully unimpressive when it came to finance and markets and economics. And it's nothing new that if you're in the intel agencies, you want to try and get as much blackmail on powerful people as possible. Easy, not hard. And this is no longer just speculation. First of all, the evidence that shows that Epstein was a creation of either Mossad, Israeli intelligence, American intelligence, Saudi intelligence, or maybe he was just a hired gun. Maybe he was just the guy that countries would go to and park a couple $100 million and say, hey, can you get one of the members of the royal family with a 13-year-old so we can get them to do what we want to do? Members of Congress are actively being blackmailed. The Epstein playbook is being used on a daily basis. Jeffrey Epstein was not a financier. He was not a hedge fund manager. Jeffrey Epstein was a key player in a multi-decade blackmail operation against the most powerful people on the planet.
Is everything starting to make sense now? Do you need to see more videos in order for you to finally realize? Do I need to show you guys more videos? Because you don't have to listen to me. Just go to YouTube or maybe X and just put compilations of Charlie Kirk and Israel, and you'll start to see a very, very unique pattern. Keep in mind, ladies and gentlemen, a man who is running 7 wars in the Middle East right now, Benjamin Netanyahu. You expect me to believe that that man took time out of his busy life and asked Charlie to come to Israel and kiss the wall and get re-educated? You expect me to believe that that man, him and Charlie, was sending letters back and forth? I mean, yes, they did send letters back and forth. I guess what I'm trying to say is that Charlie Kirk was starting to become a problem that they needed to fix. They even tried to give him money. If you thought Charlie Kirk was big now, imagine if he had taken that money. How much did they offer? I don't know. But Charlie Kirk being in the position where he had so many young Americans in his ear. I mean, so many young Americans, he was in their ear. Having that much influence on young Americans, Charlie Kirk was somebody that, well, they could have used to boost the support that they have lost. And well, he wasn't biting the bullet. He sent a letter. Candace Owens says that Benjamin Netanyahu, when he was reading that letter on Fox, he lied. He didn't read the whole entire letter. And now with the whole thing that just happened, with the assassination that just happened, they are scrambling to let the young Americans know that, hey, by the way, Charlie Kirk was a big supporter of Israel. Here's the reason why. Charlie Kirk was a big supporter of Israel. Look, we drew a picture of him. Look, we have a video, an AI image of him. They are doing everything in their power to sell you the image that Charlie Kirk was a massive supporter of Israel. But I'm going to come here and tell you that, well, Charlie Kirk was starting to notice. Yes, perhaps he was a big supporter of Israel, but he started to connect some dots. And their donors didn't like that. The donors were like, hey, this guy is starting to become a problem. He's not taking the money. He's not going to Israel. Our prime minister is trying to get in contact with him and he's not accepting. Something ain't right. He got to go. Let me go ahead and show you guys one more video, and then I'm gonna end it off by showing you what happened with the whole thing with the whole Charlie Kirk situation that's going on right now, what they did. Let me show you guys one more video.
Israel many times, the whole country's a fortress. When I first heard this story, I still had the same gut instinct that I did initially. I find this very hard to believe. I've been to that Gaza border. You cannot go 10 feet without running into a 19-year-old with an AR-15 or an automatic machine gun that is an IDF soldier, right? The whole country is surveilled. And so let me just kind of go through this. We don't talk about Israeli politics very often, and most Americans don't know this. The last 9 months, Israel was on the brink of civil war. It's not an exaggeration. This judicial stuff, there were hundreds of thousands of Israelis taking to the streets because Bibi Netanyahu is basically redefining the Israeli constitution. That's not an exaggeration, right? He said the judicial branch has too much power. There were protests planned this week against Netanyahu. where they anticipated tens of thousands of people to take to the streets. That's all gone, Patrick. Netanyahu now has an emergency government and a mandate to lead. I'm not willing to go so far that saying that Netanyahu knew or there was intelligence here, but I think some questions need to be asked. Was there a stand down order? Was there a stand down order? 6 hours? I don't believe it. Israel's the size of New Jersey. When I took a helicopter ride from Jerusalem to the Gaza border, it's 45 minutes. Wow. 6 hours. They're live streaming the killing of Jews. Did somebody in the government say stand down? That is a legitimate, non-conspiracy question. The whole country is the IDF. The whole country is. Yeah. And you're trying to tell me that they're going to concerts and kibbutzes?
Oh, and by the way, I heard they took that clip down on YouTube. Oops. Nothing to see here, guys. Move on. Blame the left. The left. Ooh, the bad left. Ooh, they're the one that's responsible for that. Ooh, they're so evil. Ooh, yeah, take all your emotion and throw at the left. Nothing to see here. Nothing to all the inconsistency that the FBI is throwing at us. Don't pay attention to that. The videos, the clip, although nothing is making sense, the story that they're telling us, none of it is making sense. Don't pay attention to that. The left is to blame. And I'm here to tell you, you are an idiot if you bite the bullet. You are an idiot for running on your emotion to think that the left is responsible for this. Because like I said, I'm seeing videos. I'm hearing the news. I'm reading articles. And it doesn't make any sense what's going on. I'm going to speak to the men again. Men, control your emotion. You want to change? Take a look at this. Take a look around you. Pay close attention to what the FBI is saying. I'm not saying get violent. I'm not saying pick up a torch and then start burning everything down. I'm not saying none of that. All I'm saying is ask questions. Sit down. Think about what's really going on. Try to figure out who was behind the whole situation, because I guarantee you, the guy that was on the roof, I can tell you right now, it wasn't him. He wasn't the one who pulled the trigger. Because the claim is that after he pulled the trigger, he put the guns to, he disassembled the gun, hid it in his backpack, and ran off. But if you look at the video, as soon as that trigger was pulled, people started to fall, and you can see on the roof he's running. You cannot put a gun. You cannot disassemble a gun that quick. You cannot do that. It doesn't make any sense. Somebody in that crowd is responsible for his death. And instead of looking into that, instead of analyzing the videos, instead of watching people who have analyzed the video and listening to people who have done far more research, you're running an emotion and you are blaming the Muslims. You're blaming the left. Some people are blaming the blacks. So while you're busy looking into Charlie Kirk, and while you're busy running an emotion, blaming the left, blaming the Muslim, blaming everybody except for the real culprit, this is what happened. Okay? Charlie Kirk was assassinated on 9/10. Since then, the government has blocked Epstein's file release. I knew that list wasn't going to get released. Because, well, with the amount of power that they've lost, with the amount of support that they've lost, the only power that they have left is this. The blackmail that they have on our leaders. Without that, guess what? No more bombers going to Israel. Next, pass an amendment that banned Pentagon from boycotting Israel. Yeah. If the Pentagon says, yeah, we're not giving you any weapon, we're boycotting you, yeah, they can't do that anymore. Next, propose the bill for Rubio revoking passport for Israeli critiques. I heard that one got thrown out because, well, that was just ludicrous. That was nonsense. So that bill got thrown out. So let's forget about that one. But it gets even better. House approved $650 million for Israel missile defense. Ooh, wow. Look, that's your money. Yeah, you can't afford food. Guess what? Too bad, because the tax that's going to come out of the money that you work for, yeah, it's going to be going to Israel to continue bombing people and also to defend themselves. Next, Marco Rubio visited Israel. Yeah, he recently just went ahead and kissed the wall. And then you can see him, on a podium giving such passionate speech about how they need to release the hostages and how Hamas is the most evil after he just got that kiss in the wall, something that Charlie Kirk refused to do, and now look where he's at. Now imagine if Mark Rubio said, "No, I don't want to kiss the wall." He would have probably been next. Are you starting to connect the dots now? Are you starting to see the bigger picture here? And if I'm not convincing enough, go do the research yourself. I'm not saying listen to me, although I am saying listen to me because I'm seeing a lot of inconsistency, a lot of it. Anyways, if you made it this far, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys up in the next video. And with that being said, thank you for stopping by.